In Julie's book, she has this really neat little statement in the early part of the book where she says, when we're raising a garden, we never say we're raising a seed. We say things like we're raising a tomato. And think about it. Many of us say, oh, we're raising children. Well, we don't. If you use the garden metaphor, that would be like saying we're raising a seed. What we're really doing is we're raising adults. That's what we're doing in school. We're raising adults. And that, by the way, correlates to what we do in schools in teaching when we do something called backward design. A really, really good teacher actually looks at the end of their course and says, what do I want my students to be like when they finish my course? And then they make that decision, and then they plan backwards and do all these things that they have to do so that at the end of the course, those students have achieved what the teacher wanted them to achieve. So as a parent, I often say to you, and you've heard me say this, is I have always looked at my children, I hope that you look at your children and say, what do I want my children to be like at age 25? Or what do I want them to be when they're ready to go off to college? And then visualize that child now ready to leave your house and go off to college. And all the things you want that child to do, like do their own laundry, wake up on their own, master their own homework, be able to survive, be able to ask questions, whatever those lists are, have all those values you want. And then what you do is you back it up and raise your child to meet those values. And that's what this book is all about. It's thinking about our children, not as children, but as the adults we want them to become. And if we think about them as future adults, that slightly changes sometimes our perspective on the way that we might raise them. Unbelievable book. In fact, Karen Silvera and I do all the new parent breakfast in the beginning of the year. And even though in April we'll be able to invite many of our new parents for next year, this is a book that I will be giving to all my new parents next year. So all my faculty are getting this book, you're getting this book, my board of trustees were just giving this book, both of these books in fact, and what we're hoping for is sort of a school-wide conversation. And then the other book, which is Jessica's book, The Gift of Failure, is something that you've heard me talk about. Some of you who've been enrolled in the school since I've been here, I talk about our mission statement where we seek excellence, we don't seek perfection, and then I always say to learn you have to take risks, to learn you have to be willing to make a mistake, you have to be willing to fail. And by the way, as parents, that's really hard. I've really struggled to let my children fail so they would learn something. It's really hard. But educationally, and most people say today, that it's in those moments of struggle, those moments of failure, that our children sometimes learn their greatest lessons. And that's, therefore, is the name of her book, The Gift of Failure. And in Jessica's book, the interesting thing about it, not only does she talk about the power of letting our children kind of let them go a little bit, let them fail, let them struggle through those things. That's how they learn to become an adult. She then later on really breaks the book into, if you have a lower school child, these are some examples. If you have a middle school child, these are examples, an upper school child. So today, in this meeting, you're going to walk away with one of these books. I hope you read it, and then I hope you switch with other people. And maybe by the time that these two authors come to us in April, you will have read both books. And then help us. We're going to promote this in every way possible to get as many of our parents there as we can. This, Stephanie Landau, is an amazing evening. And I know that a lot of people helped you, and I know the executive committee was a big part of it. But Stephanie, I know that you yourself did an awful lot of work for this. Thank you very, very much. And excuse me, I've got to rush off to my next meeting. Thank you very much. Hope you have a great morning.